Let's look at how to adjust your unconscious sensory system to support your health. I'll be using an example from my healing journey. And please keep in mind, I'm not saying that this is what you should do. This practice is just one example of an exercise that can improve your unconscious response to stress. Please don't panic. If you don't like this example, it's okay. There are many other ways to adjust this system. I will discuss other options in future videos. You would probably think that getting into water as cold as this would be pretty painful. The expression on the man's face and his tense body shows us that being in the ice water is overwhelming. And that's what you would expect. Again, let's look at the situation through the lens of the pain equals damage model. We assume that everyone will feel pain because the water is at a specific temperature, except according to the pain equals unconscious interpretation of damage model, that's the new neuroscience, that's not true, and I'll show you why. Some of you may be familiar with Wim Hof. He's a Dutch ultra-athlete and a world record holder for exposure to cold. Usually, these records consist of him running or swimming in extreme cold. He also has records where he soaks in ice water for well over an hour. Now, after Wim Hof proved his abilities by setting multiple world records, he began training people to acclimate to cold as an antidote to stress-related disorders like anxiety, depression, hypertension, and autoimmune disease. He even claims that his technique helps PTSD. Essentially, what Wim teaches his students is to be calm in the face of adversity. Now, you'll notice that while the cold exposure stresses the man in the ice water on the right, Wim Hof is not. Instead, he's calm in the face of adversity. Wim Hof's ability may seem superhuman, but it's simply the result of incremental training over time. Therefore, it's my opinion that to heal your chronic condition, it's crucial to practice expanding your tolerance to stress through some form of incremental training. The training can rewire your unconscious responses to people and situations that perpetuate chronic stress in your body. And the chronic stress in your body is what is driving your autoimmune issues or whatever other issues you're having with chronic pain or illness. I've been doing the Wim Hof method for over a year, including the ice baths at least twice a week. The temperature of the ice baths is around 37 degrees Fahrenheit, just about 3 Celsius. I soak in the bath for 10 minutes, or I do intervals of 3 minutes 3 times in a row. And yes, these are ice cubes on my stomach and surrounding me in the water. And as you can see, I am calm in this adversity. You might think that soaking in an ice bath would be maybe horribly painful. And you might wonder, why would I bother doing that? And maybe you think I'm some sort of extremist, some sort of fanatic. I understand why you might think that, because this is very unusual. However, first of all, I didn't just jump into the ice bath one day off the cuff without preparation. I spent months working up to the ice bath by doing daily Wim Hof breathwork, cold showers, and exercising outdoors in the cold weather. And even so, with all that preparation, when I did my first ice bath, it was overwhelming. But over time, as Wim Hof promised, the cold baths became a different experience. I feel discomfort in the first minute and at the end of the 10-minute soak. After the initial discomfort, I feel a deep sense of peace that is very difficult to describe. Imagine how it would feel if all that chatter in your mind shut off and you're experiencing this soothing peace instead. Also, my body relaxes and just kind of chills, right? And feels very calm. It's also noteworthy that the ice baths are the first practice I've found that relieves my chronic anxiety and depression reliably. In other words, if I start feeling off base, I can take an ice bath, which resets my system and immediately removes the angst from my body and my mind. Additionally, the ice baths have increased my physical and mental energy. Fundamentally, the Wim Hof method is a form of exposure therapy. Many experts considered exposure therapy to be the most effective way to build a tolerance to experiences that trigger dysregulation. And dysregulation is what drives most chronic illness. Practicing exposure therapy consistently can rewire your unconscious responses. For example, my cold tolerance has changed dramatically. Essentially, the sensation signals to my unconscious aren't any different than when I took my first ice bath. Instead, the subconscious interpretation of the signals changed from responding to cold as if it were dangerous to responding to the cold as something helpful. Because of my training, my subconscious interprets cold exposure as a supportive stimulus rather than a threat. Consequently, on average, I'm less sensitive to my typical stress triggers. Also, I'm more able to stop destructive behaviors that historically ruled my life. Most importantly, my life is expanding rather than shrinking for the first time in many years. The training has made me more resilient. Therefore, your nervous system lacks resilience if you suffer from chronic health issues. You can build up your resilience by choosing a practice like the Wim Hof method that gradually expands your capacities to handle stress. Over time, as your capacity for digesting stress increases, you'll notice that your overall stress tolerance will expand. The Wim Hof method isn't the only way for you to expand your resilience. I'll discuss other practices in future videos, including therapeutic play, co-regulation, pranayama breathwork, mindfulness meditation, mindful yoga, and many more. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. You can look forward to more videos that teach you how to get out of chronic pain and illness and optimize your health with the insights of modern neuroscience as your guide.